Another very important story, which is New Zealand Prime Minister who is in India. And Prime Minister Modi, along with his New Zealand counterpart, resumed negotiations on a free trade agreement between the two countries that has been in cold storage for 10 long years. It paused in 2015. The two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening bilateral ties, expanding trade, deepening defense cooperation and maintaining peace in the Indo-Pacific region, and taking a firm stance against terrorism and agreeing to enhance people-to-people ties as being some of the broad areas in which the two leaders agreed to focus on. They've also institutionalized defense and security cooperation in a much bigger way, and also the fact that Indo-Pacific featured very prominently in the discussions between the two prime ministers. As far as immigration is concerned, Prime Minister Modi stressed the importance of having a formal agreement in place, because remember, skilled workers and their immigration and their mobility is very important to India, and that is being reflected in these meetings as well. And in fact, beyond that, the two prime ministers also joked about their cricket affinity and the recent win of the Indian cricket team. But listen in to some of those important aspects of the conversation between Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister of New Zealand in those official statements after their bilateral meeting.
न्यूजीलैंड में रहने वाला भारतीय समुदाय न्यूजीलैंड में सामाजिक और आर्थिक विकास में सकारात्मक योगदान दे रहा है। हमने तय किया है कि स्किल्ड वर्कर्स की मोबिलिटी उसको सरल बनाने और इलीगल माइग्रेशन से निपटने के लिए एक समझौते पर तेजी से काम किया जाएगा। यूपीआई कनेक्टिविटी, डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन और टूरिज्म बढ़ाने पर भी बल दिया जाएगा। शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में हमारे पुराने संबंध हैं। हम न्यूजीलैंड की यूनिवर्सिटीज को भारत में कैंपस खोलने के लिए आमंत्रित करते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हम दोनों एक मत हैं।
Just thank up front Prime Minister Modi for the very warm and generous welcome that we've had, myself and also our delegation. Today we have just concluded a series, I think, of very highly productive meetings, and we also witnessed, as you have seen, a number of government-to-government arrangements that will strengthen the growing ties between India and New Zealand. Prime Minister Modi and I have also issued a joint statement that I think captures the wide range of topics that we have discussed, the arrangements that we have finalised, and the areas of cooperation that we are determined to pursue into the future. I hope that our meeting has left Prime Minister Modi in no doubt about the profound depth of New Zealand's commitment to building a deep, broad-based and enduring relationship with the great nation of India. By broad-based, I mean that New Zealand is committed to doing more with India across a wide range of areas.
Okay, let's get in Mohammed Ghazali to really connect the dots for us here. Ghazali, it's an important bilateral meeting between Prime Minister Modi and his New Zealand counterpart. There are some very important areas that the two countries now want to focus on, but the key aspect of it is trade and Indo-Pacific.
Yeah, certainly. See, trade and security are the two aspects of this bilateral meet which happened today. And when it comes to trade ties, we already know that yesterday it was announced that how India and New Zealand are going to resume the talks on free trade agreement. The two issues which were proving to be bottleneck was the agri and dairy products, on which India at least initially thought of that it will be sensitive issue concerning the farmers, that it will now not allow grant or access to New Zealand in terms of to our agri markets, but New Zealand also manufactures a lot of agri products and agri machinery, and that could be useful for our farmers. So that is why that aspect has been discussed, and further discussion will be held in the next round of FTA whenever that schedule is announced. But Prime Minister is stressed upon that this FTA would be a mutually beneficial one, which will benefit both the countries. And why this FTA couldn't take off initially after 2015 or last year when the talks were happening, perhaps all those issues will be ironed out. Besides trade, the other issue was of mobility, which the Prime Minister also is stressed about, that how in FTA the talks will also be focused on moving or sort of looking for immigration of our skilled workers, because out of more than 290,000 Indians who form the largest diaspora in any other country, like in New Zealand, India is also sort of focused at how this diaspora and their settlement, their mobility should be very smooth, and that is why the visa issue that will also be discussed or be part of the FTA. And besides that, a very important issue which was discussed was about the anti-India elements also thriving in that part of the world. Besides the security in the Pacific Ocean, because we know that how China is growing its influence by having contacts in the Cook Island, another country which is a bunch of islands already having ties with New Zealand, but New Zealand is concerned about China's rising influence in the Pacific Ocean. And we saw how India has
Yes.
been, this entire bilateral talk is more concerned about that India being a larger country is not a bully. That is why in all the common statements issued by the Indian Prime Minister, if you see which happened in Mauritius or which happened with UK or any other country, India has often spoken about that we believe in the freedom of navigation in the waterways,
Yes.
but also we are not expansionist forces. So that has been the fulcrum of this entire talks. And besides that, these anti-India elements thriving in New Zealand was also brought to the notice of the New Zealand Prime
Exactly.
Minister, and he has sort of assured Indian government that action will be taken against any such element who, under the garb of freedom of expression, keep fomenting trouble for India or keep voicing their anti-India sentiments there.